Another stacked show coming your way on Philadelphia 76ers Now. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic day because we have another great show on tap for you, and I hope you hang out for all of it. Here's what we're talking about on today's program. Sixers found guilty for tampering. We did a YouTube short yesterday, but we'll expand our thoughts on that briefly on today's show. There's a trade idea for Jae Crowder and some growing buzz about him getting dealt from the Phoenix Suns that I want to discuss that would send Matisse Thybulle and Furkan Korkmaz to Phoenix. Also, all of the latest Sixers news and notes coming your way as well. But first, if you are relieved that the Sixers seem to have righted the ship to a certain degree, and after that slow start in which I went off on Doc Rivers, and I stand by that, they've now won 3 consecutive games, and if you're pumped up, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Let's get to this tweet from Derek Bodner, because this is on top of what we talked about yesterday with the Sixers being found guilty for tampering and getting their picks docked in the 2023 and 2024 draft in that second round. Derek Bodner saying this: Sixers have become the 4th team in the past 24 months to be hit with the loss of a second-round pick as a result of tampering, joining the Bucks, Heat, and Bulls, as the league has started to become more aggressive in penalizing these early contacts between teams and free agents. Shams Charania with this as well. The league's investigation found no wrongdoing into James Harden's nearly $15 million pay cut last summer, but findings showed that the 76ers did make early free agency discussions happen with Daniel House as well as PJ Tucker. So that's where these penalties stem from. It's not from James Harden and kind of that shady meeting in the Hamptons with Michael Rubin, who at the time was no longer an owner with the Philadelphia 76ers. It all comes down to PJ Tucker as well as Daniel House. And here's my overall takeaway on tampering. My take on tampering is this: NBA tampering is like a speeding ticket. It's technically illegal, but nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares out there. In fact, I actually think that tampering is good for the NBA. It makes the product a little bit more entertaining. It makes it more engaging. And for the Sixers, they had early conversations with PJ Tucker and Daniel House. Who cares at the end of the day? With the Chicago Bulls trying to go after Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball last year didn't want to play any longer with the New Orleans Pelicans. He had a greater opportunity to play well and have a better role with the Chicago Bulls, and that's why he left. Yeah, he ended up getting injured, but the point here is, who cares about NBA tampering? For Adam Silver to take this so seriously, this is good for business, Adam. This gets people talking about your product, and right now, you are struggling to really garner a lot of views when it comes down to your television ratings because people are kind of finding the product to be stale to a certain degree and way too political. So, tampering, who cares? Sixers get their second-round picks taken away. Yeah, I could care less, honestly. So, because of that, let's just type F Adam Silver in the comment section right now. Legalize tampering. I'm on that train. I hope you are as well. All right, a lot of you came here for this subject matter. Could the Sixers trade for Jae Crowder? This actually could happen, and I'd love it. Crowder is away from the Suns right now because of lingering beef between him and that franchise, and him and the Suns mutually agreed to seek a trade. Now, there's a lot of baggage behind this, right? So let's get you caught up on it if you're not familiar. Jae Crowder wasn't happy with the previous Suns owner, Robert Sarver, who was forced to sell the team. Ironically enough, Barack Obama is among one of the potential ownership groups that could buy a stake in the Phoenix Suns. An interesting note there. And also, Cam Johnson is ahead of Jae Crowder in the rotation. Now, 2 years ago, I thought Crowder was pretty good with Phoenix, and then last year struggled a little bit. Cam Johnson is an emerging player, but for Philadelphia, I think that Crowder would fulfill a couple of needs here where they're a little bit thin on the roster. He'd be a great 3-and-D fit. He'd give you solid defense. He can shoot, and it's another dog. Last year, we looked at all these players: PJ Tucker with the Heat, Montrezl Harrell with the Hornets, D'Anthony Melton with the Grizzlies, Jae Crowder with the Suns, who were like, damn, if you're able to bring in any of these players, it would add to the dog mentality on the Sixers team and give them mental toughness that they have lacked. Well, now, those first 3 players are Philadelphia 76ers. We don't have to dream about that anymore. And could Jae Crowder be a part of that equation as well? Here's the Sports Illustrated trade idea that I came across, and I would make this deal if I'm Daryl Morey. And for Phoenix, look, if you're not playing Jae Crowder at all, he's not even with the team, he's not obviously a member of the rotation if he's away from the squad. Like, why not get a high-end defensive player with Matisse Thybulle who really doesn't need to do much offensively because the Suns are set in that offensive category. And then you get another foreign shooter in Furkan Korkmaz, who maybe you can get his mental confidence back to get him back on track. So we're going to continue to explore this, break this down, and take a look at what Crowder would bring to the table. First, though, would you do this deal? Want to hear from you in the comment section right now. Give me a T for trade or a P for pass. Be the general manager, be Daryl Morey, and don't get penalized for tampering right now in the comment section. Today's Philadelphia 76ers Now is presented by a brand new sponsor here at Chat Sports, Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts, actually. It's a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners, like me, are referred to as lairds or lords or ladies in English. Title packs from Established Titles give you at least 1 square feet of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Scotland and an official certificate with a crest, which is what you're showing you here on the screen. And what's also neat is that on your credit card, your plane tickets, your dating profiles, you can actually be referred to as Lord Chase Sr. I'm Lord Chase Sr. now because I was able to get my plot of land thanks to Established Titles. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using our link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our little 76ers Now kingdom. So it makes an amazing last-minute gift, and if you're all about preserving our natural woodlands and the environment as a total, Established Titles is actually running a massive sale right now. Plus, if you use the code CHAT, you get an additional 10% off. So go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and help support the channel with the holiday season coming up around the corner. Going back to Jae Crowder here. So Jae Crowder is a guy who can really get it done on both ends of the floor. He can knock down some threes. He can rebound. He can defend at a really high level. Last year, 9.5 points per game. He shot around 40% from the field. Just shy of 35% from three. Solid numbers there. And as you can see with the steal category, a guy who can play passing lanes and create turnovers. A steal and a half last year. The year before that, as I said a little bit earlier, he was much better. He connected on nearly 39% of his three-point attempts and helping lead the Suns to an NBA Finals appearance. This is also a guy who has some swagger and gusto to him. 10 points per game. The year before that, 10.5 in 2018-19, 12 points per game. And you've seen that the three-point numbers are steadily pretty solid. And if you trade away Matisse Thybulle, yeah, it might hurt because Matisse Thybulle is the younger player, but I think the Sixers declined his option for a reason. They want to see him prove that he can be a viable three-point shooter. And if you take a gander at his numbers from last year, you know, he really struggled shooting the basketball, and as we've talked about, he was played off the floor against the Miami Heat in the second round. And what I know about Jae Crowder, he's not going to get himself played off the floor. He's not going to be scared to rise up, let it fly from deep. He has that short mindset, which I really like. He won't let a couple of misses alter his confidence. And you look at his career stats, this is a guy who's been getting it done for a really long time. So you give up a young player, Matisse Thybulle, who's been a two-time All-NBA defensive player on that second team in just 3 years in the NBA, but you're clearly going all in right now to try to win a championship. That's how this roster has been built. That's how this roster has been constructed, and we know that the Sixers, and losing these draft picks even furthermore, are trying to maximize their title window with all of the moves that they made last year, this year, for this year and the next couple of years. And the thing about Matisse Thybulle, I like him a lot. I like his game. I love his defense, his character, his energy, his tenacity, but he can't shoot it, and it's a problem. And finally, Doc Rivers played him the other night, and he came off the bench, and he was able to knock down 2 threes and help get that Sixers team back on track. But I just don't have any confidence until I see it that he can have sustained success shooting the ball from the outside. And then for Furkan Korkmaz, I actually kind of liked the deal prior to last year. 3 years, $15 million, because if you get a solid shooter who can make it rain from deep for $5 million on an average annual value basis, he's really valuable. But he isn't even in the rotation right now. He's fallen out of favor with Doc Rivers. So you get a playoff rotation piece for 2 guys who aren't even playing. That's why I'm making the trade. So if you had to pick one player Who are you going with? Jae Crowder, Matisse Thybulle, JC for Crowder, MT for Matisse Thybulle? If you could have one guy on this team, who are you picking? And before you hop on out of here, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below for more Sixers coverage like this. We have you covered with it all. News, rumors, analysis, breaking news. We won't stop. Let's go.